Hey, how's it going, guys? GM, happy to be here. It's exciting. We got a fireside chat with Katya from Wormhole. How are you doing, Katya?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Can't complain. The weather's finally pretty good in Toronto, so right in time for consensus.
I love it. I went to university here, so it's nice to have a homecoming.
Oh, no way. Whereabouts?
University of Toronto.
Nice.
So I
Nice,
can
nice.
see it from the walkover. Felt very inspired.
That's a fellow Canadian. I also I'm from Toronto as well, so that's awesome. Okay, cool. So why don't we get this started? We'll get some quick intros going. Let you guys know who you're speaking to, and then we'll right in with the fireside chat. Talk about Wormhole, multi-chain, on-chain activity, all the crazy stuff. So I'll start off over here. I am the moderator over here, Nero. I go by Crypto Ape on Twitter. I'm the CEO and founder of MCA Multichain Advisors. We're a Web3 management consulting growth company. And we're here with Katya. Actually, Wormo is one of our previous clients, so super excited to have him here. Katya?
My name is Katya Chernopolska. I'm the head of growth at Wormhole Foundation. I've been working in this space for 5 years now, mostly in DeFi. Started my career working at Maple Finance, doing institutional grade loans on chain. Most recently was at Aave, where I was with the team when we launched the stablecoin Go. That was quite the adventure. Launching a token is stressful. Launching a stablecoin is so much more intense than you would ever think. Also worked at Polygon for some time, building out their DeFi ecosystem. And through all of those different roles, I spent a lot of time thinking about interoperability. I think any protocol that wants to grow and be really thoughtful in their expansion, it inevitably has to go cross-chain. And so through all those different roles, I'd spent a lot of time talking to interop providers, eventually got connected to Wormhole a few years ago, and then I recently, year and a half ago now, joined the Wormhole Foundation to continue, my mission on making the developer experience of going cross-chain as simple as possible.
Awesome. So you've had a truly multi-chain journey to get to Wormhole.
Yeah, started on Ethereum. Actually, I wasn't the biggest Solana fan. I'm embarrassed to say this. I'm speaking at the Solana Summit tomorrow, but I really wasn't before I started, being really aggressive in cross-chain expansion. I think the Ethereum maxi brain that I had then was pretty resistant to alt VMs, and you really can't speak poorly about Solana's growth and their commitment to consumer and the innovation that they've built on that network. So when I joined Wormhole, I had to search through my Twitter to make sure I didn't share any spicy takes about any other VMs before I joined.
That's it. It's truly multi-chain, and I'll definitely have to ask you more questions about the Solana stuff later. But why don't we start off over here? When, and where did you first hear about Wormhole?
I actually was working at Aave at the time. The Aave V3 protocol actually has a feature called Portal, which is very funny considering that's also what Wormhole's main bridge is called. And so there's this feature on Portal that allows you to transfer your collateral across different chains. And it's a feature that hasn't actually been implemented. But I thought it was really compelling and a really interesting use case. And I've always really believed that applications will eventually become truly omni-chain, where it doesn't matter where my collateral is held, doesn't matter like what I'm borrowing against, where I'm borrowing against. I would love to just have it be a unified experience, and I saw Portal as being that like feature that gets us one step closer towards that. So I spoke with all the different interop providers back then. I spoke with Layer Zero, I spoke with Axelar, I spoke with the Wormhole team. They came down to the office to help walk me through like interop frameworks and how to even think about interoperability. And that was really helpful in laying a strong foundation in interoperability without like it being specific to Wormhole's offering. Over the years, I've been watching how these teams have developed. And when it was time for me to find a new role, Wormhole was just, I think, the building in a way that was in line with my own personal values, and I was really excited by the opportunity to join them and push that mission forward.
Makes sense. I mean, Wormhole's been around for a really long time, and they're like a crucial infrastructure within the Web3 space. I know for me personally, it was around 3 years ago in Bitcoin Miami, which was also a Solana hacker house, where I first heard about Wormhole because they gave out some dope merch. and I didn't even know what they were at the time. But eventually, everyone understood what they were. But it's crazy how like deep in the ecosystem they've been. So Wormhole obviously has a lot of different products. The portal bridge you mentioned, messaging, Connect, and NTT, and a bunch of stuff. Why don't you walk through and just let us know like what's been the most exciting, like like developments in terms of product over the last year? Which product did you like really blew it out of the water that you guys maybe weren't expecting to, and like kind of walk through like the Wormhole product suite and how things are going there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think with so many different products, it gets really like messy to try to piece together what Wormhole really is. When you think about the core Wormhole protocol, what that is the like messaging layer that exists on all the different chains that we support. It's our 19 guardians who are well-known industry validators who deploy infrastructure on all these different networks and basically validate that the messages, that the information that's being sent from one chain to another is complete, correct, and consistent across the different networks. So powering all of our products is that really decentralized, really secure building block. On top of that, there's a couple. The tool I think that's blown up really over the past year is a framework called native token transfers. It's a generalized token framework that allows you to take any asset cross-chain. But what's really unique about this is you as the developer actually deploy those contracts and you own them and you get to customize them to whatever security or compliance or other preferences you have in moving that asset cross chain. So we saw it with Lido. Lido uses it to take wrap stake ETH cross chain. It's powered by both a Wormhole messaging verifier and also an Axelar messaging verifier. And so having that ownership and that customizability really sets an asset issuer up for success over the long term with no vendor lock and no like restrictions or ownership from the Wormhole ecosystem at all. That's really the way that we like to build our tooling is, thinking about the being permissionless, open source, and as accessible of a tool as possible. So that's blown up. On the next layer up, so you can take the token cross-chain with NTT. It's using Wormhole messaging. One step up to get you from chain to chain quickly is a product suite, actually, technically, called Wormhole Settlement. It's our intent-based infrastructure that we just recently announced. I think maybe 2-3 months ago now. And that intent-based infrastructure allows you to take any asset cross-chain in 5 to 10 seconds. So if you're using traditional like Wormhole messaging, it's going to take you like 15, 20 minutes. You're waiting for finality on both chains, which is great security practices. But if you're willing to work with a solver and pay a little bit of a premium, you can get that asset transferred really, really quickly. And so that all rebalances via Wormhole. So that's kind of the primary stack that we really focus on building, and we're really going to continue focusing on growing over the next year.
Which of those products are you most excited about?
I know Settlement's the newest, so I really should say Settlement. I think NTT is just like so good. Like it's so good. We talked to teams who are concerned about being dependent on Wormhole messaging forever. We're also working with ZK teams though. So we want to introduce new levels of verification, and we're really thinking about what does the interop space look like in 10, 15 years? Like what are we actually going to be doing on chain? And I'm really proud of the way that we've originally designed the NTT framework because of how modular it is. And so I think it's the coolest tool we've got out there. We're seeing a ton of traction with it today, and I'd love to see it continue to grow.
Makes sense. I'm super excited about NTT as well. We work with projects in the SUI ecosystem as well, and there's a lot of talk, on NTT. So very exciting. So I guess why don't we talk about the general on-chain kind of economy? What are you guys seeing right now with just general on-chain activity? Maybe touch upon some of the trends you guys are seeing right now, and what's been different compared to previous, bull markets.
Definitely. There's kind of a dichotomy happening. Meme coins have so much traction. I think there's a little bit of resentment from some of the really crypto native folks against that being what really penetrates the traditional normie market. But it's really fun. Like we're seeing a ton of volume. We're seeing how many meme coins are going from Solana to Base, Base to Solana, Base to Sui. Like people just want to, have fun on chain, and that has really seen a lot of like product market fit, and that's been really, really great to work with teams who are thinking consumer first in a way that I personally wasn't thinking, a year or two ago. And then on the flip side, we're also finally seeing payments being realized on chain. It's very exciting. Bitcoin was founded to be this global payments network, but it's become really expensive and just costly for people to transact. And I think the rise of stablecoins over the last couple of years has really been incredible. Stablecoins like USDC and USDT have obviously been doing really well over the last few years. There are also a lot of newer stablecoins who are thinking about yield accrual and value accrual to the user in a really interesting and like meaningful way. M0 is a great example of a new stablecoin that's being really innovative in the way that they're designed and in the way that they can work with like different chains to help build value in those different ecosystems. And the next logical step for that is introducing payment rails for that too. So getting those stablecoins cross-chain quickly. If I'm a merchant on Base and I want to accept only USDC on Base, I don't really care if the person who's purchasing it originally started with Sol on Solana. All I care is that I get my USDC and my preferred wallet on Base. And so what we want to do is help build those really, really fast rails to help really get towards that chain agnostic, multi-chain ecosystem that we've all been dreaming about for so long. And I think stablecoins is getting to like that next level of maturity, and now the payment rails are coming to help make them really productive.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, stablecoins are like awesome. They've been crushing it, like insane revenue generation across the board. Probably one of the greatest innovations of the blockchain space. So we'll definitely have to jump back to that question where you guys helped launch a stable, or you personally helped launch a stablecoin in the past. So definitely want to dive in there. But why don't we talk about like the general multi-chain vision and the multi-chain thesis that's happening? What have you guys noticed over the last couple of years on the general like multi-chain thesis and execution versus what's happened in the past?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think nobody really expected there to be this many layer twos. I sure didn't. I was expecting OP to launch, and then Base was launching, and I thought that was kind of it. Maybe there'd be one or two more rogue ones. Now there's like one launching a day. And the capacity is, and the block space is just growing so much to the point where I also think maybe we don't need as many chains. But it's been really interesting to see like the specialization on the chain level and how like asset issuers are thinking about interacting on those different chains. I think DeFi continues to be like a really prevalent theme across all these different networks, and so we're really happy to help build those multi-chain applications. But it's the space is so like complex as an outsider, right? Like there's so many new chains, it's hard to digest. Your wallet might support one chain, but then it might not support the other. So the future that we really want to work towards is really chain abstracted world. And I know that that's been a buzzword for quite some time now. But I think what that really means is it shouldn't really matter where you're holding your assets, right? Like if I'm holding my USDC on one network, my Bitcoin on another, my like TBTC, for example, because it's tough to get native Bitcoin on ETH. And then I'm holding USDS on Solana. Like I shouldn't have to log out of one wallet, click into another. I think the wallet experience is getting better, but it really should be, I want to do this specific function, and I should be able to do that regardless of where my assets are being held. And so moving towards this like seamless space where ideally, as much as I love our branding and I love that people know about Wormhole, I'd love to just kind of have us fall into the background where asset transfers are happening, assets are moving cross-chain really, really easily, and at a low cost, and you don't even know that it's happening, right? Yeah, that's kind of wishful thinking. I think we'll still want to be on the forefront for some time, but I like hanging out in the shadows.
So seamless interoperability. Hopefully that is the future.
Yeah. Cheap, secure, very important. This we can go everywhere really, really quickly, but that comes at a cost to security and decentralization, and that's never a compromise that like the Wormhole protocol is willing to take on. But yeah, fast, quick, easy, fun. That's kind of the goal for this space.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I know we're running out of time over here, so I guess two final questions. I know Wormhole's been like focusing a lot on the institutional side, like I guess the Web2 side. I think one of the founders was at the White House and all this good stuff. Let us know what does Wormhole, I guess, on the Web2 side potentially look like, and then also let us know like what's super exciting that's coming up for Wormhole, and then we can wrap it up.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll go fast. I think on the Web2 side and also on the regulatory side too, the Wormhole Foundation is working with the DeFi Education Fund to help regulators actually understand what's happening on chain. One of the questions that we get sometimes when we speak to people who aren't familiar with the space is, what's the difference between Wormhole and Coinbase? That's the wrong question to be asking. So we're spending a lot of time doing education and helping onboard people into the space in a way that's really meaningful. We work with BlackRock, we work with Apollo, Centrifuge just launched a new fund that's also powered by Wormhole. So we want to continue to make sure that people are going cross-chain in a safe way and helping them form their thoughts on what that looks like. And what's there to look forward to? So much. We've got quite a few announcements coming out over the next few weeks, few months. We're always iterating on how best to make Wormhole more secure, more decentralized, and simpler to use. So, new verification models is something I'm really excited about. Working with a lot of ZK teams on what the future of interop looks like. Beyond the crypto economic security models that we have today. Yeah, and just continuing to build with more teams and helping make people's visions come true.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Katia. It's great. Thanks.
Thank you so much.